Hey folks, this is your weekly 80 Star Basketball channel. My name is Tony, and we're going to dive right into what sold last week in addition to the upcoming auctions. With this episode, we're going to focus a little bit less on pass sales. We still are seeing the low supply of star cards and slight appreciation of the cards, so that's to be expected. Simple laws of supply and demand. Since there's a pretty big auction at Fanatics Collect this Thursday, which is tomorrow, and it's their premier auction. As always, if you have comments and feedback and questions for Ryan and myself, you can reach us here. You can also reach us on the Star Basketball Cards Collectors Group Facebook page. I'm trying to get Ryan on Instagram, but I know he's extremely busy with work. And I can also be reached on my own YouTube channel, which is just tjisonline. No 101 sales. This was a reprint. Upcoming auctions, and here's where we get right into it. So on eBay, ending in 4 days, we have a PSA 8. At Fanatics Collect, we have a PSA 7.5, currently $78,000. And also on eBay, there's a PSA 4 with an auto 8 at $51. When I was prepping for this video, I did not see it, so that just must have popped up on my screen. Zero feedback. Yeah, it's too early in the process to evaluate this here. But, oh man, you can't make this up. And I'm not going to stop recording and edit it out. I have to leave this in. Look at this PSA case. All right. Well, there's a PSA 7.5, and it's a nice one. Typical left to right centering, decent corners. It's an honest 7.5. Current bid, $78,000. We also have a PSA 8 on eBay. Already has some bidding on this. It's currently at $2,000 and almost $280,000 rounded. We also have this PSA 8 currently up on eBay. Even though it's an auction, it doesn't have a bid yet. So this is the starting price, $279,999, which is, let's just say $280 round it. With the 195 sales, we're going back to June 19th. I'm seeing a total of less than 5 sales because you're going to see why. So we have a BGS 8 sold for $6,600. BGS 6 sold for $2,500. Raw copy BGS 4 sold for $1,875. And then we have another raw copy. With the 195s at auction, this is going to be one of our first cards that's getting a lot of attention. And when I say one of the first cards, specifically one lot. So eBay has 2, PSA 6, BGS 7.5. Check those out when you get the opportunity. Fanatics has quite a few here. We have a PSA 5, another PSA 5, and then we have this. This is a BGS 9. At initial glance, I thought it had perfect centering, maybe a little too perfect. A lot of discussion on the Facebook group and private conversations. I received DMs, I sent DMs, text messages, and it's a little thin. Now, it could be thin for a number of reasons. Factory cut. We do know that Star had poor quality control when they outsourced the sheet cutting. And I have bags sealed that you can see various cards that are wider and longer, shorter in the same bag. They came out of the same batch. And I have an example picture here. So this is a picture still of a video I shot in April 2024 when I was getting ready to buy this collection. It was raw. I'm the second owner The original owner purchased it, sealed bags, took them all out of the bags, and put them in binders, and had a nice set. So you can see here with this picture, there is difference. There's varying differences in width. So the Thompson comes out this far. Then we got the Jones, comes out a little bit thinner. Then we got the Wilkes, which is in between the Jones and the Thompson. And these weren't trimmed or aftermarket cut. It's just that's how they came out. So going back to this card, I tried to put together an overlay of my PSA 7, which I know wasn't altered in any way with this card, and it's tough. So I used Photoshop Express on iOS, and my card is in the PSA coffin. You know, the BGS 9 is in that one, and my card's a little bit wider and a little bit longer. Now, I couldn't get a perfect exact overlay, so there's no blurriness. The images, I could not get the images no matter what I did to overlap perfectly with the inside racetrack, the star 85, the name, and the logo. And that's because of how this process works. Sometimes you can get a perfect overlay, other times you can't, and that's due because, and I know this from my former programming life when I worked with Adobe, PDFs, TIFF images, PNGs, and other formats. Just sometimes you can't because the images get manipulated when you scan them, you resize them, because it's all mathematics and programming code behind the images. And then Apple and Android, they have pinch to zoom, and that further distorts the images and changes all the mathematics and the calculations and everything that makes up what you see on the screen that we call a picture. But you can see here the racetrack is pretty aligned here. It gets a little bit blurred here. So you can definitely question the length. But when it comes to the width, I think it's pretty obvious here that it's thin. Now, is it thin? What's the reason of it being thin? I don't know. I can't comment on that, nor if I did, I wouldn't feel comfortable to, because as you saw in my previous example, these cards were cut to varying degrees by Star's third-party cutter themselves when they outsourced it. So that's about that card. Let's go into the 288. We're going to have a similar conversation about that card too. I saw 0 sales since the 19th. When I look at upcoming auctions, I see 2. I see the BGS 9 that's currently at Fanatics Collect as part of their premier auction, and I see this other BGS 9 on eBay. This is a starting price of the bid, so it's not like you have this many bids to get it up. I do have a similar example that I tried to put together using Photoshop Express for this card, and here's what I came up with. So I wasn't able to get the overlay perfect, or as good, I should say, as the previous one, but you see the racetrack's pretty aligned here. It's aligned and overlaid just enough to get an idea. And this width looks okay to me because you really can't go by the difference in size here because that could be just due to the image. But when you get to the length of the card, my card in the PSA slab's longer. And if you go into the Facebook group, scroll down here, I actually uploaded my videos where you can see the transition between the PSA and the BGS slab for both of these cards. Food for thought. I'm not making my opinion known here because I don't have enough evidence to, nor do I want to manipulate the price of these two cards. So just, this is the information, use it as a guide, as a gauge, and make your informed decisions whether you want to place a bid or On to the next card. We have the 117 second year MJ BGS 9 sold for $34.95 on eBay. Upcoming BGS 9s of the 117s, I see 3 currently, all at eBay. Probstein, uh, just be careful bidding on his auctions. Nothing he can do about it. It's just people do tend to do shady things. Uh, but again, it's not his fault. There's nothing he can do about it. It's the eBay platform. That's a limitation. So this BGS 9.5 is currently at $25.50. We have a BGS 9 here. Next to this BGS 9, $32.95, and this is at $25.50. So take an in-depth look at those when you get the opportunity. Moving on up to the next card, we have the Clyde Drexler. I'm going to show Clyde the Glyde a little bit more love. He's on this show for a second consecutive week. We have the PSA 7 autograph with the 10 auto grade. This sold for $16.93. Yeah, this is a pretty good price in my opinion. I haven't comped this card out because you don't see it too often, but knowing how much Drexler rookies go for, even the 7th grade, and then the cost of the autograph, I think it's a good buy. And I did talk to Patrick Ryan. This was his card, legit autograph. Patrick takes extremely care in getting his cards signed. Yeah, every now and then, much like any of us, he has one that goes sideways, but that's not his fault. That's so much. There's so many varying factors. It could be the most likely it's the athlete doing the signature, or you just have bad luck with the paint pen. And if you do need paint pen recommendations for on-card autos, hit me up and I'll tell you which ones I use. We also had a BGS 8 that sold for $11.75. This one's not coming up, so we'll get back to that later or in a future show. When I first originally started this video, this was active. It ended. It was a 9.5. Going into the Olajuwon, Barkley, and Stockton rookies, we have 5 sales since June 19th. Sorting by descending order, PSA 7 with a 10 auto. This may have been Patrick's card also. Didn't ask him about it, but I'm pretty sure it is. So this went for $3,800. It's a really nice card and autograph.